Ravings and Cravings here. Thank you for joining me this evening when it's dark outside at 5 p.m. I just don't like daylight savings time, but I like this program, so I am here for you. I am here today with Doug Woodward and Carissa Hill. They are the owners of the Inn at Woodstock Hill. Ooh, Hill and Hill.
Right?
Yes. Was it named after you?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. How long have you guys been the owners there?
It'll be 4 years, July 6th of next year. So 3.5 basically.
All right, let's get the main details up front. So like address, your phone number, your social media presence, so that people can write that down, and then we'll do that again. So in case they're not ready, because you guys should be ready whenever you listen to this program. So let's get the good stuff out there.
So we're in Woodstock, Connecticut, 94 Plain Hill Road. We are on Facebook. If you just search the Inn at Woodstock Hill, not the just Inn at Woodstock Hill, we're on there. What was the other thing?
Are you on Instagram?
No Instagram.
Okay.
Our email is inwood, INNWOOD, @gmail.com. Our phone number is 860-928-0528. We're super easy to get hold of because we are almost always there. And there's always somebody there. So if you ever call or email, we try to respond pretty quickly.
And talk about the services that you provide. I was just there, I want to say, was it 3 weeks ago that the Stonecroft crew was there? 3 or 4? It's always the first Friday of the month, right?
Yeah, so it should have been the September, whatever.
Yeah. So I was there and I hauled my piano over there and got it into the room there so I could do music with the group there. So tell us about what services you provide and a little bit about maybe a lot about your menu.
You want to start with?
Sure, Carissa, you can go. Go for it.
All right, so we are a bed and breakfast. So we have 21 rooms for lodging. That's our main thing. But we do also offer events and functions. Our restaurant is not open anymore to the public. But we do events and functions. So we have a minimum of 25 people to book an event with us. But we do all sorts of things: bridal showers, baby showers, birthday parties, retirement parties, weddings.
Oh, have you ever done a quinceañera?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Oh, see, that's why she's in charge and I'm not.
We did one last year.
That's very cool. I was so excited to get invited to one. Those are off the chart amazing celebrations. Any other celebrations that you've done? Oh, graduation parties?
Graduation parties, for sure.
I mean, pretty much we'll do anything.
We'll do anything. We have all different menus depending on what you're looking for. If it's a wedding, we have a wedding package with set menus. But for everything else, depends what you want.
So let's say if I book there, then as far as other services, food and everything like that, I should probably use your services, or can I bring an outside vendor? How does that work?
We prefer that you use us. We've had people use an outside caterer before. Like the first year we took over, we did a very large Jewish wedding, and they had to have everything
kosher and all
kosher.
that.
So they have brought in a separate company. They blessed the bar and they blessed the kitchen and the whole thing.
Then you got halal and you got all kinds of stuff.
And then we did a wedding 2 years ago that they brought for their rehearsal dinner. They brought in a pizza truck, like a food truck. So we've had quite a few people do food trucks, but we try to provide our own food. It's just easier to keep everything in one house.
Right, yeah. So starting at 25, as far as a minimum number of people, is there a max as far as number of people for a crowd?
So inside, our max is 100. We can do outdoor, like for a wedding. If you are larger, we can do an outside tent, and then we can go up to approximately 250.
Okay. So you said you've only been there for 4 years. So what were you doing before that?
I was selling liquor for CDI out of Connecticut, out of Stratford. Okay. And at that point, I think I just quit working at Tuscany at Mohegan Sun. That's actually where we met.
Is that a restaurant? Or what is that?
At Mohegan Sun.
So what were you doing at Tuscany?
Bartending and serving.
Okay, and what were you doing there?
I was serving there.
Okay, all right.
She's a much better server.
I was a day oneer.
What's a day oneer?
From when the restaurant opened.
Oh, right when
the casino opened, actually.
Oh, so that's a long time. How long was that?
No, just kidding.
I was at the casino for 18 years.
That's a long time. And then that's a big thing to jump ship.
Absolutely.
And to do something like in the corner of New England in Connecticut.
COVID
where
made it easier.
There are 3 people living there. I don't know.
COVID changed everything because the casino, they shut down for 2 months. When they opened before everybody else did. But that kind of expedited the whole process essentially for both of us. And then me with CDI coming out of COVID, they had changed. It was a lot of like menu. It was a lot of data collecting versus selling. Which I didn't make any money off of data collecting. So like Bacardi wanted menu pictures and Captain Morgan, it just got really, it was a lot of, yeah. And I was like, that's not how I make money. So then this opportunity, well, do you want the backstory?
I love backstories as long as it's not backwash.
No. So I actually started at the inn in 2000 as a dishwasher when I was in high school.
Oh, at the inn it was?
Yeah.
2000?
So I had a beautiful afro, and I was thinner than I am now.
So you guys in Radio Land, he has no hair now, just to let you know, like visual here. But I mean, you're so handsome.
Thank you. So I started as a dishwasher, and then eventually just started doing everything. So prepping food, lawn maintenance, painting, I've done basically everything except housekeeping, because I'm a terrible cleaner. She can attest to that.
But you can strip a bed, probably, right?
Yeah, I just can't put it back together the right way. I'm not
Well, you can't do everything well. Okay.
So then I worked basically off and on, at least like major holidays, Easter, Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, that kind of stuff. And then in 2019, I worked Mother's Day, bartended, and I was like, Rich, I love it. I mean, the old owner is like a second father to me. I remember when I got in trouble in college, he was the first phone call I made before I called my parents, because I was like, maybe he can bail me out, or not that I was in jail, but so I was like, look, I love you, but I don't want to bartend anymore. I don't want to work here anymore. So I was like, this is it. So then COVID happened, and they had asked me to take over, and I was like, no, I'm good. And then literally, I think 2 months after COVID, so it was May, right in the thick of COVID, they asked me again, and I was like, dude, what a horrible time to take over a restaurant wedding. I was like, nobody could travel. You couldn't, like, it was horrible. So I was like, no way. And she was pregnant with our first son. So I was like, the timing is not good. And we lived in Plainfield. So I was like, I'm done. Good. And when I had moved out of Eastford, so I grew up in Eastford, I moved out. I was like, never come back to this town again. Then fast forward to 2020. We had to move because she was pregnant with our second son. Found the perfect house in Eastford. And then in April of 2021, they asked me to take over again. I was done with CDI at that point, and the deal was too good. So I was like, I went back to the place that I started at, that I swore I would never be back at, and I moved back to the town that I was like, I'm done with. So I was like, the older you get, more things, they come into perspective. So it was like a full circle. So every time I hire a kid, I'm like, look, I was you 24 years ago, and now I'm here. So dishwashing may suck, but anything's possible. So
I've heard. When I used to write for the local newspaper, the Chronicle, I can't tell you how many people who own restaurants now, whether they're from Mexico or Puerto Rico or whatever, wherever, all American, whatever, they start out as dishwashers. People start out as dishwashers.
It's a good way to learn.
it is.
Well, you learn the inner workings of something.
Yep, 100%.
And I think having more skills to be able to do different things makes you more marketable.
Right.
So you have all the skills. I mean, to me, I say competency is both a friend and an enemy, because it's a friend because it gets you in the door in places, but it's kind of also an enemy because everybody wants you to do something.
You're
and
right.
It looks easy, and they think they shouldn't pay you for it because it looks so easy.
Right.
I know that's my experience, especially as a professional musician. Oh, she can play that. I mean, it must have taken her 2 minutes to do that. Actually, no, I've been doing this since I was 8.
Right, years and
so let's
years.
do 8, and I'm 63, so, it's been a long haul.
Right.
Been working on my craft, just like you're working on your craft. Yeah. So is that this similar backstory? Did you grow up in Eastford too?
No,
Clarissa?
I did not. I grew up in Coventry, which is also not too far away.
Nope.
But yeah, I worked at the casino. That's where we met. As he mentioned, we ended up having 2 children together.
After I swept her off her feet, might I add.
Put that in there. Yeah, you go ahead and do that, Doug. Go ahead. You add whatever you want.
We moved to Eastford because our house was not big enough. We found the person. I never thought we would live out in Eastford. When we first looked, I'm like, I don't want to live out here. But we found the perfect house that worked for our family. And then when they offered him for the third time, we discussed the fact that we thought it needed to be a joint business venture because it's a lot for one person to run a place like that.
Yeah.
So we agreed to do it as long as we could do it as a team.
What's the acreage there? Like, how big is the space that it's sitting on?
14
14.3.
acres.
14, okay. And talk about, besides the bed and breakfast you said, right? Talk about the menu that you have to offer, like some of the kinds of foods that you're able to make, and that kind of accommodation.
So our menus, like I mentioned, they vary. As far as our wedding package, those are more like a set menu. But as far as other events, we offer brunch buffet menus. We offer a couple of different regular buffet menus, like dinner menus. That it ranges depending on what you want. Most of our menus have a beef, a chicken, and a fish dish. We have vegetarian
And a
options.
veggie, yeah.
We also do plated menus for like a regular dinner if someone prefers that. We have lighter like past hors d'oeuvre menus. So
We have a bistro menu, which
kind of a
typically,
little bit of everything.
like our bistro menu, typically we do for rehearsal dinner the day before a wedding. So it's like barbecue chicken, sausage, peppers, and onions. Try to steer away from what the wedding menu is. But we
Yeah,
do
make
salmon,
simple.
cod, snapper, chicken marsala, chicken piccata, beef tenderloin with a French onion demi, béarnaise. We can do pretty much. We do eggplant parm, chicken stir fry.
So do people have to pick from your menu items, or can they create their own? Like, what if it's something that you don't typically make? Like, maybe say some kind of Middle Eastern something or whatever.
We try to stick with the menus that we have.
with what
We
you got.
do allow some swapping of if you don't like the fish that's on this menu and you see it on another menu, swapping like that, but not making your own.
makes
We
it
do
tough.
our menus because it's something that we try to make sure it's something that works for us, that we've done before, that our chef excels in
Yeah.
making, that
Yeah.
we know we're going to send out a good product.
Do you have any shout outs you want to give to any of your staffy people who work there? Anybody that you'd like to recognize today?
I not individually, but I will say that is one thing that we strive at. You can go stay anywhere, and that's always my selling point when somebody books a room with us. I'm like, you can get a room at a Hilton or a Marriott, and it's cookie cutter, whatever. And some people want that flat screen. I mean, we have flat screen TVs, but some people want that new age. I just want a room, whatever. And you see the person at the front desk, and then you don't see anybody for the rest of your entire stay. It's not like that at the end. We some of our housekeepers do breakfast, so you get breakfast every time you stay with us. When it's really slow, her or I'll do breakfast sometimes. So you always converse with someone else that makes it like an unforgettable experience. It's almost like your family, especially if you come back a couple times. You start seeing the same people, and then they're like, "Oh, how are the kids? How are the?" Like we do a lot with Pomfret parents. Pomfret Prep and Pomfret
prep
School
school,
send
yeah.
a bunch of their people to us. So like we have 2 customers that they have a dog named Chuck, and my kids, my 4 and 5-year-old, like they remember Chuck, so they're always like, "Oh, Powers are here. Where's Chuck?" So that kind of stuff happens. But our staff allows that. Our staff is just awesome. They almost every single one of them can do. They're multifaceted, so they can work in the office, they can do housekeeping, they can cook, they can wait, they
Kind
can
of like you
bartend.
when you started.
Exactly. So they're like chess pieces, and we move them around on a pretty regular basis. And they're all awesome, and they love our kids, and they work seamlessly with
We're
us.
truly a family. We'll say it that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Our staff is small,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Well, to me, I often will judge a place, but as far as service, by how often they come around to fill the coffee cup. I'd say you got that hands down. Because when I was there at Stonecroft, it's for that event, the people were there, like at your elbow when they saw hardly anything in your cup. Like, "Oh, would you like more coffee?" And excellent service, and people. The food is very good too.
Thank you.
I think they'd usually do like a brunchy kind of
Yes.
menu.
Yep.
I think, right? Yeah, it was very good. So again, let's repeat like who you are, where you're from, like what place, the address, the phone number, how people can book, how to find you. Let's do that again before we run out of time. You want to do it this time?
I was gonna say I'll let Chris do it this time.
Because he already got it.
It's a test.
You need a
See
little
if you
more
can pass it.
airtime. Yeah, go for it.
So we are the Inn at Woodstock Hill. Our address is 94 Plain Hill Road in Woodstock. That is Plain with an E at the end. I don't think he said that.
Oh, it
I
is plain
didn't.
with the
Touche.
E.
She wins.
All right.
The phone number there is 860-928-0528.
Wait, 0 or
928-0528.
05. Oh, I wrote
Oh, you did it backwards.
Yeah, I did. I'm not even
You can call that number too. You just won't get hold of us.
Try again. All right.
We can be contacted through our email, which is inwood@gmail.com. So INNWOOD. If you ever are interested in booking an event or anything, that's a great way to, get in touch with us. And then we are also on Facebook. And anytime we do any sort of event that's open to the public, we do post it both on our website and on our Facebook page.
Okay, so those are your two best resources as far as finding out what's going on. Is there any kind of calendar of events between like now and the end of the year? Do you have any special things coming up?
We have Breakfast with Santa on
I saw
December
that,
8th.
He's coming.
You know what? I grew up like not doing stuff like that, and I might be inclined to.
It's fantastic. We actually
So-
partner with Now to do that.
Hey, you're never too old, Matt. Stop laughing. you just can't see that he's laughing, guys. All right.
Yeah, so we partner with Now for that event. So Santa has elves that come and help too. We do some crafts. They get breakfast and they get a picture with Santa with a photographer.
Northeast Opportunity for Wellness. They're a group out of Danielson.
Oh, okay. That's what now is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, the world has changed significantly since COVID. COVID marked us, just like 9/11 did.
Yeah.
It marked us in many ways. And I'm wondering, like, if we fast forward to today, because now we're not in pandemic mode, how did that change the restaurant or the in business for you guys? I mean, you started when you were right in the middle of things. Most people would say you should have your head examined, even consider doing that. So what's changed since then?
I mean, we wouldn't be there if COVID hadn't happened. We wouldn't be.
So
sitting
that
here
was
right now.
the
We
spark?
wouldn't. 100%. That expedited the whole
Making it-
process.
That's amazing.
Rich wanting to retire, in him and I's relationship, I think, made him pivot to me. There was somebody that was going to buy it, and the deal fell through. So then he turned to me. He happens to know I was 16 and I'm 40, so I essentially grew up in that building. So there's a fondness that I have for it that when you do, it's like a basketball player when they retire, right? What do they do after? Because all they did was play basketball for 40 years of their life.
Yeah.
So that's all he did. So I think that that's not all he did, but that's what he was doing. So he wanted to make sure that he knew it was going to keep going on. The year before we took over, they actually filmed One Royal Holiday, a Hallmark movie there, and that's actually what saved
Which movie?
One Royal Holiday.
It's called One Royal.
Yeah.
I think I saw that on YouTube.
So that's actually what
I gotta
saved
go home and watch that.
the inn because they shot in July of 2020, which is right after you could start doing, I think it was 50% outside dining, but you still couldn't travel internationally. We do a lot of international bookings with Loose and Spiral and a bunch of local companies. So Hallmark, I wasn't there, but Rich told me the story. They came in and they were like, "Hey, look, we want to shoot this movie," and he was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And they were like, "Look, this is what we need. Give us a price." And he gave them a price. It's just a total shot in the dark, and they took it. So they had 110 people for 45 days, 3 meals a day, and they took the entire inn for 45 days. They shot fake snow everywhere, and mind you, I don't know if you remember July of 2020, but it was like 140 degrees and like 100 million% humidity.
So
it was like
they're
the
wearing
hottest
winter clothes.
ever.
Okay, yeah.
And they happened to pull Broadway actors because Broadway was still shut down at that point. So they got them for cheaper. So the cast is actually pretty decent compared to, not the Hallmark movies are bad, but the cast is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, you got better people.
And we still get people specifically coming to the inn because they're called Hallmarkers, I guess is what they're called. They come specifically because of the movie.
Sure.
So without any of that, we wouldn't be here. And logically, just the restaurant getting closed. We closed September of 2021. We just didn't. There wasn't enough traffic. Putnam is too blown up now to where there's too many other options, and it created. It wasn't worth it. It was like cutting off the arm to save the body.
Yeah.
And it gave us way less headaches. So it worked. It worked out.
Who wouldn't be a fan of less headaches?
Yeah. Right.
Well, what is it that keeps you going? What keeps you there? What's the thing? Or the things, or the people, or
just the paycheck. That's it. No, I'm kidding.
Well, and
I'm
there
kidding.
we have it. It's a it's a wrap. We just heard from Doug. Okay.
I don't know what keeps you going.
I mean, I honestly think it's a lot of what he said. Like we are at the point now where we have a lot of regulars. We have people that stay with us on a regular basis or have events like the one that you mentioned on a regular basis. Just, I don't know, people.
It's our extended family.
Yeah, it's an extended family. We're able to make people happy, and it works for us.
And we meet new people every single day. I tell people all the time the one advantage, or not advantage, but the one difference I would say between a regular job, at least for me, is I don't look forward to the weekend anymore, and I don't dread Mondays. Because I'm just there. We're both there constantly. So I'm like, is it Thursday? Is it Tuesday? Like, I don't even remember half the time.
We forget what
and every
day it is
single
all
day
the
is
time.
different. It's never the same. And by the end of it, I would say at least in 20 years, I'm going to write a book because I have some fantastic stories of just silly things that happen that you don't think about. But if you put it on, like, I don't know if anyone's ever read Waiter Rant. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was a waiter at a fine dining restaurant in New York City, and he just writes all of his stories down. Hilarious stories of just things that you don't think about until after they happen.
Well, that'd be awesome. That'd be very interesting.
So every
We
day
already
is just
have
new.
some of those stories, and it's been 3 years.
Yes.
So imagine in 20.
Collect them all.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment ever. So it keeps it fresh every day.
So the next time I see you, maybe you'll have published the book, and we can talk about that.
But yeah,
That would be kind
I
of
need a couple more stories. I have some.
Oh, it's
we
just,
have some good
it's just a
ones.
matter of time.
It's every
It'll happen.
day. Yeah.
So that's what keeps you there. All right. Well, I am going to be running out of time pretty. Oh, I actually have 2 minutes. Wow. What do we do with 2 minutes? Is there anything I missed? Anything, loud and clear, you want people to know that the restaurant is not open.
The restaurant is not open, but we are open to any sort of, like, Carissa listed a bunch of events, but really if you were like, hey, I want to hang out I just want to have a dinner with, there doesn't even have to be an occasion. It has to be 25 people, but other than that, in the rooms, we're the largest largest bed and breakfast in the area, at least in northeastern Connecticut. We're right next to a bunch of wedding venues, so even if you're getting married at the mansion or the Lord Thompson Manor or Grill 37 or wherever, we're still your best bet. We have 2 king beds, 2 rooms with 2 queens, 1 room with 2 twin beds. I call that the high school room. And then 1 room with 2 double beds, and everything else is queens. So we can sleep 46 in one shot. 46. Without cots or anything. We have every amenity that you could think of that you would get at a Hilton or Marriott, but we have crown molding, and the building was built in 1816. So there's a lot of country charm. We have 3 working fireplaces. 9 of the rooms have gas fireplaces.
Yeah, if you want to get the visual as far as New England, the traditional New England look, plus the landscaping is stunning, and
Yes.
I think all year round it's stunning. I mean, there's beautiful color in the summer, in the winter, it's very bucolic. You got the white building against the landscape. It's just got a lot going for it. I will be happy to come back again sometime, and our time here is up. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
I think this was a great interview. I feel so honored that I could even get you here, because I think that was that took a lot of work. So I'm going to sign off for today. This is Ruth Hartunian Ellenbaugh, Ravings and Cravings, signing off here on Good Company WILI.